All right, we're going to do a little studio tour here, and I'll never forget the first time that I produced a band in Japan and got to go to a recording studio in Japan, and the microphones were in this temperature, humidity controlled little special custom-made thing just for microphones. And I'm sure it kept them in perfect condition, but here at my studio, things are a little more primitive. You know, I'm using the gear all the time and for different projects. You know, so there's stuff that's in, you know, boxes that just came back from the studio or just came back from the tour. Happen to be on my pedal board that I'm making videos for my school on. But where to begin? I guess we should begin with my pedal board that I'm used for the studio. We'll just unplug it so you can have a look. And this is actually, well, it's a little confusing because there's two numbers. This is the Superboard 3000. It started its life as the Superboard 500, but I like 3000 better. But one of the tricks that I do when I go on tour is I take black electrical tape, like this piece here, and, you know, so I don't have to bring the whole roll, because I don't need the whole roll. I just cover the back of it with, you know, so that'll cover up the 500 and this other serial number. So this has had, you know, it's been a couple different serial numbers, basically for the customs, because I don't want to have to write down the serial numbers of all the pedals. So I just call it the Superboard 3000, you know, and then you could go through customs without any problem. Anyway, that's my long story. The actual pedals today are, of course, the Polytune, which is kind of an amazing tuner. I was kind of blown away by that. I didn't expect to be, but I'm using it all the time now. You just strum once, it shows you the whole thing. Full Tone Deja Vibe, MXR Phase 90. This is on every pedal board I ever have. The overdrives of the day are this way huge saucy box. The TC Electronics Mojo Mojo. For my looping system, I've got a Keeley looper, which is really more tricky than it needs to be, but it's got an LED on it. It's nice to be able to see which amp I'm using. And then the looper itself, the TC Electronics Ditto looper. I also have a TC Electronics Alter Ego Vintage Echo right here, which sounds really nice, and an MXR buffer in case I've got long cables. So that's the Superboard 3000. Now, I just got back from doing a bunch of sessions in the studio for the new album, and this was the, ended up being the pedal bag. So let's see what's in here. This is actually some of the stuff that I took but didn't necessarily get used that much. My old 88 flanger, vintage one.
Wow.
A spare MXR Phase 90, just in case. Phase 100, never know when you might need, you know, 10 more. Another Mojo Mojo. We've got, I didn't really use this one yet, but I like the paint job. The Box of Rock. The TC Electronics chorus. I don't think I used that either, but it's a good one when you need a chorus. But I've got 3 guitar players in the band, so you don't really need chorus that much. The Fat Sandwich, I think I did use that on a song.
You're a big TC Electronics guy, right? You've been using this stuff for a while.
They make good stuff. And so that's that one. Then we're going to go over here to... I'll clear this out of the way so you can make it through. Okay. Now, some of the things that I took to the studio have ended up, you know, they circulate from different box to box. I ended up using the Red Llama a lot on the new record. Green Rhino, I've used that before, but I didn't use it so much this time. You can tell that I like the Phase 90. They're everywhere. They're ubiquitous. There's a good word. I just checked with my journalist friend, Stephen Rosen. Ubiquitous. A guitar player that can say ubiquitous. The Fuzz Universe, still with the original tape settings.
Fuzz Universe was the big pedal on the Fuzz Universe.
What's that?
Record, right?
That was, exactly. Well, the record came first, but this was the pedals I ended up using on it, and we just put them into one box. This is supposedly the one that Yngwie uses, and I thought, well, worth a try. It's sort of like MXR Distortion Plus, but it weighs more. What else do we got in here? I was using this a lot for a while, the Empress Para EQ. If you feel like tweaking, you can spend some time with this one, and you really can dial in, you know, exactly what you're looking for. Other things we have. The DD3, that's always a good one to have around. But there's more. We've got these 2 drawers. Oh, this was
And there's another pedal board here.
This is Freddie was using this on the album. So I built one for him with a mini vent, the detox, so he could play some clean stuff. A couple booster pedals, one from Magic Box, a Venom Boost. That's basically half of the Fuzz universe.
Right.
And the TC Spark, the little guy. And this is actually that's the Superboard 3000. Maybe the other one was the 500. And I used this wah-wah pedal a lot on the last Mr. Big tour, the Jimi Hendrix one, Crybaby, and various other stuff. Oh, you know what? One more box of pedals over here, the big ones. Okay. I don't know if you can make it back here, but you can follow me. Okay. There's some that are so big that I need a larger box. Old vintage like Electro-Harmonix Polyflange.
Wow.
That's actually a really good sounding one. Now, according to the guys at Full Tone, the old Big Deja Vibe is like identical sound and components to the smaller one. I don't know, this old one, it's got something to it. But it is so big that you can't have anything else on your pedal board because it takes up all the room. So, but I did use it on a bunch on my first instrumental record, Get Out of My Yard. This was, and I used it on a Racer X album called Technical Difficulties as well. A song called Snake Bite has this pedal. And then, as much as, there's a lot of great flangers. This one, if you really want that, it's just really good at that. Kind of noisy, but, just don't stop playing. No one will know. And I got some headphones in case I'm too lazy to use the earplugs. Been digging these little Yamaha amps lately for rehearsals and stuff. A lot of times when we rehearse quiet. So it's nice to just have a good sound in a little box.
Wow. And what about some of the outboard stuff, Paul?
Oh my goodness, that's I hardly ever use that anymore.
Really?
I make all my demos with such cheap, I'm just using the iPhone voice recorder. But if I wanted to actually sound good and do like professional recording, we've got the old Rupert Neve AMEC preamp EQ things, the Avalons. These, they probably sound good. When I say probably, it just means that I'm so deaf I can't tell anymore. But I know people like them. They make a lot of heat though. So if you get these, make sure you've got good air conditioning or you live in a cold place because these will heat up your room. Wow. They're not tubes, but something else in there is just making heat. I'm not sure what. A bunch of GML stuff that is supposed to be good. And again, it would take a person with ears to know for sure. The Focusrite stuff, I like the Focusrite because it looks like it came from a 50s movie. And I like these knobs. They're, the GML stuff, so again, this is like really expensive, but the knobs aren't, it's just like a real flat surface. These are kind of curved, so I have to say the Focusrite, when it comes to style, and, again, I'm a person that doesn't hear that well, but I can still see all right. I'm gonna have to vote for the Focusrite. And any other interesting things in the room? I've got a jillion guitars, but I'll just show you
some of these guitars are pretty interesting. We don't normally associate with
what's out at the moment. Now this guitar is a great guitar. It's a Ibanez 2630 from 1979. But the secret of this guitar is the strings. Right now I've got 8 to 36.
Wow!
It's basically a set of 10s with the low E taken and tossed into the garbage. And I'm using an A string, just all the way down, and I stick an 8 on top. So these are just super, super light. So if I don't, there was a week where I was spending with my family. I didn't play guitar at all. And then I had a clinic tour, and I'm bending, just going, ouch! But you get a 14 on there. That might even be a 13. Yeah, that's a 13 on the G string, and you can just bend all day. You can do the BB King. And it's just not that bad. And it's a great sounding guitar anyway. What else have we got in the guitar collection that's out? This is a brand new one. I really like this one. This is a Fireman. It's got P90s in it. A lot of pick dust has accumulated because I've been playing it so much on the new record. Just a nice weight. The neck is a tiny bit smaller than usual. Big frets. I love this thing.
You like the P90s, Paul?
they seem to sound good. Sorry, I've just so much pick dust on there. And I've got some older vintage guitars with P90s. They always sound good. I mean, you got to deal with the hum, but again, you can either never stop or just have a little less distortion. And Kevin, the producer, never complained about it, so it seemed okay. And it's also hum canceling if you have both of them on. They somehow at DiMarzio they wired it up where if I've got both of them on, it won't hum. But good sounding guitar. And this one, I just did a modification to this one. This is an Ibanez, a recent one. It's pretty new. It's an AS-103, and I had this made for a Beatles tribute that I did. And of course, the Beatles, they used to play those hollow body Epiphones, and the Epiphones had a big E right there, so I had Ibanez make a big I instead. And this is actually a really nice guitar. It's got a big chunky neck on it, which I like, and it just plays great. The only thing that I was really struggling with were the inlays, because they were fancy. They were these sort of complex. I mean, they were beautiful, but I was sort of getting lost. So I went on the internet and I found some stickers, inlay stickers, and I just put these on. And I think those are pretty good looking. So those, now I can tell what I'm doing. I can hit those adult notes and I don't get lost as much. So that's my modification to this one, and it actually kind of matches the eye as well. So and Ibanez does make the ones with the simpler inlays. This one is actually a new one. Just came from Japan. I don't think they make these in America yet. This is an awesome guitar. It's a full hollow body, not a semi-hollow, and it just weighs nothing. Really light. And man, this thing, really. And I don't have a strap, so I'm struggling with it. But it shreds. The action is really low, and I can burn on this thing. And it's just funny, or it's fun playing a full hollow body, because if you get any distortion or volume at all, you immediately transform into Ted Nugent. The thing becomes just a shrieking, howling feedback machine in kind of a good way, unless you want to stop, and then you got to be quick with your volume.
Is that a Les Paul over there?
We've got a brand new. What's that?
Is that a Les Paul over there too?
Oh, that's a Ibanez Les Paul. This is from the mid-'70s.
Oh yeah, I got one like that.
It's a actually I'm not even sure what the date is because they didn't put it on. But look at that flame. It's a nice flame. These are kind of cool. I mean, I'm obviously an Ibanez guy, so I'm always looking for Ibanez's to play, even the old ones. But the top is hollow. I'll get it out. Don't worry. It's hollow, so it's a little bit lighter. And Les Pauls, I played one when I was a kid, and I think my spine is still a little bent from the thing because they can be really heavy. And so, I don't know if that was their motivation, but for whatever reason, it's a nice weight. Sounds great. I've played it in the studio, and I think if there's a video of me doing a song called Jackhammer on YouTube where I'm playing this guitar. It's a nice one. And then a recent model that I think is not out in the States yet, but probably will be, is the PGM 80P, I think it is. And it's got a whammy on it, which I haven't used in a long time, but it's a traditional whammy. And it's got the locking Goto tuners, and with that, it stays in tune really well. And to me, it feels like 1977 or 78 with this guitar. It's like pre-Floyd Rose. And as much as I wanted a Floyd Rose as a kid, when I actually got one and started messing around with them, I think I'd spent enough time with a non-trem guitar where I just never got comfortable with it. But these somehow, I dig them. They're a lot of fun. Even though the only whammy lick I know is just hitting a harmonic and go, But that's pretty good. I like going, whoop, 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 whoop. It's just a cool guitar anyway. It's got two DiMarzio PAF Master pickups and a PGM single in the middle, which is one they designed specially to work with the PGM. I'm sorry, with the PAF Master. So many P's. And then, of course, we have the Makita drill. This is a vintage Makita drill from probably the late 80s. And I've got 4 picks mounted on the end, glued and screwed onto the end of a wooden dowel. And what other things do you need to know? One of the biggest tricks is you need the older drill, because when you let go of the trigger, it keeps going. Now, I guess that was considered to be unsafe at some point. So the newer drills, when you let go, they just go zip, and they stop. But this one, it keeps going. And that's kind of a nice sound. You know, hold that next to the pickup, and woo, you know, it sounds like you're the dentist from hell. But besides that sound, you can, of course, play melodies, fine-sounding melodies, by bringing those picks in. It's best not to do it like straight perpendicular or whatever that would be. You want to sort of get it almost parallel with the string. Upstrokes, all upstrokes. And they're the quickest upstrokes. This is actually a slightly improved design, because the bits that I would make in the 80s were only 3 picks. This is 4. It's 1 faster.
So the Makita is the most musical of the drills that we've come across.
Well, it's got to be cordless. I'm actually, I mean, to me, I just got it. It worked. I have never experimented with another brand. You know, when you got something that works, why mess with it? So, but you can find these on eBay for like $10. So, my boy, you know, he's been watching a lot of Sesame Street, and I thought, you know, Sesame Street's all right, but you know, I got to make sure that he's watching the good stuff. So you know, I'm no good at video editing. So I found a couple friends of mine that can edit video, and I said, you know, you got to take these DVDs of important musical performances and edit. And I wrote, you know, notes for each one, you know, which songs to make like one compilation DVD that my boy can watch to make sure he gets the right stuff. So, you know, we got Hendrix at Monterey. You know, obviously I've got a lot of notes of, you know, stuff to put in there. He's got to know "Rock Me Baby" and "Like a Rolling Stone." I've got "Yellow Submarine." You know, some important. He knows like "Nowhere Man," "Hey Bulldog," "All I Need Is Love." Those are important. I've got extremely important, "A Hard Day's Night." I don't know what happened to the cover, but this is "A Hard Day's Night." This is, I mean, when I saw that opening, it's not the opening scene, but opening scene of their performance, when they zoom in with the camera to the audience members, and they're all screaming, so you can't hear anything except screaming, but you can read their lips. And the first girl they zoom in on goes, and that's my name. Girls were screaming my name, so that became my favorite movie. Now, my son's name's Marlon. There's nobody screaming Marlon, but hopefully he'll like it anyway. And then we got some, you know, the old Ed Sullivan or the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. There's some kind of horrible stuff on this, not because the Beatles were bad, but because whoever was like involved in the technical stuff was really screwing up the mix. But there's also some great stuff, and then everything's there, so you can. That's why you put the yellow note things on to explain what to use and what not to. Just some old thing with, you know, Rock and Roll Forever. It's got Jackson 5, James Brown, Bill Haley and the Comets, Elvis. You know, it's really good stuff. Now, even though Aerosmith is on the cover of this Midnight Special DVD, if you look closely at my notes, Neil Sedaka, "Laughter in the Rain." That's the one we need to get. Got to get those pop chords. My boy's got to be able to hear a major seventh. Help, lots of stuff from that. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. You're going to lose that girl. You've got to hide your love away. Oh man, You're Going to Lose That Girl was the song that taught me that diatonic harmony does not always have to be the rule. You can have a 3 chord that's a dominant chord, which was what happens in that song, and it sounds so good. And then last, but certainly not least, man, if you get one DVD. This is such a mind-blowing thing. This is Tom Jones, the Tom Jones TV show from 1969. His guests, Stevie Wonder, Janis Joplin. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Little Richard, Aretha Franklin, you know, The Who, and he's doing duets with them. He's, you know, Tom Jones, who's a stunning singer, but really different than Stevie Wonder. The duet with Tom and Stevie, it's one of the great achievements of human beings in the history of their existence. You know, when the aliens come down and we're trying to prove that they shouldn't eat us and that we're, you know, worthy of something, show him Tom Jones and Stevie Wonder singing together, and and the human race is going to continue. That's how I feel about this DVD. Make sure my boy watches it, grows up with the good stuff. Rock and roll.